Today I want to focus on the extreme measures people took to be with Jesus and 3 simple, life-changing steps that may seem like extreme measures to you. But first, let's take a quick look at one of the most astounding stories I think you'll ever run into in the Gospels. In this story, Jesus helped a man in the synagogue on Shabbat, and a group of people became very angry because he did. The man had a shriveled hand, and Jesus healed him. The conflict was that it came on Shabbat, what we call the Sabbath. The man who was healed probably thought what you thought. What better place for healing than inside a place of worship during a time of worship on a day set aside for the community to worship? But some of the Pharisees were furious. They had created so many rules for people concerning Shabbat, it kind of looks like they even had rules for God. No miracles allowed on Shabbat. You know, here's something I know about those Pharisees. None of them had lived with a shriveled hand. They did not resonate with the challenges this must have created for this man, their neighbor. They did not love their neighbor. If they had known this kind of suffering, they would have had a lot more compassion. Jesus had endless compassion. He seemed to be on a tour of compassion around the Sea of Galilee, and he was training his followers to have that same kind of compassion. People around Jesus who liked what he was doing, heard what he said, saw what he did, and then they memorized what he had said and done, and they also adjusted their lives so that they did what Jesus asked them to do. They wanted to live and look like Jesus. A lot of extreme change was happening in the Galilee while Jesus was teaching. A lot of people were taking extreme measures to change their lives, and that's where we're going with today's scripture passage. As Jesus was busy healing people like this man with the shriveled hand, more and more people were coming to see him. More and more people were undergoing this extreme kind of change in their own lives, and they were even going to extreme lengths just to get to him. They were coming from everywhere. Have you seen this list? They came from Judea and Jerusalem and Idumea. They came from east of the Jordan River and from Tyre and Sidon on the Mediterranean coast. If you and I came from any of these places to the Sea of Galilee today, it might take us a few hours. For us, the only walking involved would be the walk to the vehicle that would give us an air-conditioned ride to where Jesus was preaching. But that's not the world that Mark knew. These people traveled on foot 4 days to find Jesus. Once they got to the right region, they still had to travel. They had to ask from village to village if the rabbi called Jesus had been there. And then they walked some more until they found him. Once they came near to Capernaum, they may have spotted Jesus and the crowds in the distance. The Sea of Galilee sits in something like a bowl, and you can see a great distance from any of the hills that surround the lake. Someone with good eyes could have seen Jesus teaching along the edge of the lake and the crowds that surrounded him. I cannot emphasize enough how much trouble the people in these crowds had gone to just to find Jesus. Many people were going to great lengths just to be with Jesus. They wanted him to succeed, and they wanted to be like him. On the other hand, some people were working hard to stop Jesus. Some of the Pharisees even began to plot with the political movers and shakers in Jerusalem. They are called the Herodians, on how they might kill Jesus. Now, if those Pharisees started out from Capernaum, these critics of Jesus also walked for days in their efforts to stop the movement. It took 4, even 5 days to make the journey to Jerusalem. That's a lot of extreme effort from 2 groups of people on the opposite ends of the spectrum. This is where we have a choice too. You can go with Jesus, walk with Jesus, try to be like Jesus, or you can reject him. There's really no middle ground here. Now, here are 3 simple things you need to do. You need to start by reading his words every day. You want to understand the words of Jesus in their original context. That's what we're doing here, and that's kind of easy. A next great step is to memorize his words. In time, you might even make scripture memorization a focus of your spiritual discipline. But memorizing scripture seems frightening to most people. We live in a culture that doesn't memorize anything. The benefits of memorizing the words of Jesus are amazing, and you can do it. Like someone just getting started on a long hike, your only job right now is to take the first few steps. Try memorizing a single verse. Just see how it feels. If you like it, and you probably will, then you can add another verse. Just because this might not be something you're doing now doesn't mean it's not possible. It's clearly possible, and you will never regret giving this an extreme effort. Read his words, memorize his words, and then do what he says to do. Model your life after the life of Jesus. Read his words, memorize his words, put his words into practice. Those are three relatively simple things to do. They may seem extreme at the moment when you're just starting out, but actually they're all doable. And if you would do those three things, what happens next in your life could be so life-changing, you might call it a miracle.